Jeff, you had, again, another night of a tough matchup with Isaiah Stewart, and you, based off the score and based off the stats, won the matchup. He was 3 of 10, more turnovers than field goals. Did you kind of take it, again, a little more pride upon yourself to try and shut him down, especially with this being your last home game against UW?
Oh, yeah, for sure. Last home game against UW, you got to go out with a bang. But, no, really tried to focus this week. Knew that he was going to be physical. You watched on the tape. He's one of the most physical guys in the league, in the country. So just really stepping up and trying to focus on, not letting him get comfortable and getting his looks.
In a game like that, just high emotions, everything, how much do you guys feed off the crowd energy?
It's huge. I mean, every time we have a big crowd, we have the most energy on the court ever. So whenever our crowd pops out, I feel like we have a high chance of winning. So hopefully we get some more fans coming out.
And for Seattle guys, I know recruiting interest showed to you. Do you see red when you see purple, basically?
Pretty much, obviously I can speak for myself, and I'm sure Noah can say the same. Is UW was always, one of those schools growing up we wanted to go to. But we made our way to this side of the state, and I couldn't be more happy being here.
I see nothing but red. My sister went there. Both my sisters went there, so I definitely have a lot to talk about tonight in the family group chat.
Was that Seattle to Seattle drop-off from Noah to CJ at the end with the lane, was that kind of the cherry on top, do you think, tonight?
Yeah, so we were up by 4, and I do remember that play vividly. It was a great pass by Noah, and just ball went in the hoop. We needed it to stretch out the lead, and then we just made some free throws down the end and got some stops to close it out.
And breaking the little drought against Washington, you feel like for any of you three guys, weight's kind of lifted off your shoulders a little bit there? I know you drive.
Honestly, I don't think we got a big win tonight, but we're on to the next game, and we've been having trouble taking the show on the road and getting road wins. And so right now, that's our next challenge, is to get a road win.
And Jeff, I guess, what do you credit for? It seemed like you guys kind of stymied them late with your defense. Would you say that was there anything in specific you game plan for Washington in that?
I mean, just knowing how tough of a team they were. Obviously, coming in rival game, they were going to play up to the crowd, up to the level of the game and everything. So just trying to not only match their energy and toughness, but exceed it as best as we could.
Jeff, I'm not sure what the rebounding numbers were, but I believe you guys had at least 10 more rebounds than they did. Can you talk about that? And you, CJ, DJ, Rodman had a couple big ones in the second half too.
Yeah, I mean, that was a huge emphasis this week in practice, was rebounding, because as good as their zone is, one of the weak points is boxing out and trying to get defensive rebound and stuff. So we knew we could get in there and get extra possessions, and so that was just something we focused on, talked about every day in practice, is just getting on the glass, putting pressure, and getting more looks.
CJ, did you guys know you probably would have to shoot pretty well over their zone, because it's pretty hard to penetrate against those big bodies sometimes?
Yeah, that's an emphasis that I know the other team makes, is especially because they run that zone, they try to limit teams to 5 threes, under 5 threes, and obviously that'd be very good. But when you can really shoot them out the zone, obviously they're not going to switch their defense, but it makes it hard for them and really stretches out the defense, and then that opens up the middle.
You guys sang that song with Coach Raveling there at the end. Can you talk about that and what the background of that is, or is that something you guys usually do after wins? Or
so I don't know if Coach Smith made it or wrote it, but
I think he did write it.
I think he did.
Yeah, okay, he must have wrote the poem, but it's something we do after all home wins. And we've done it since the first one, and it's just been a pretty cool tradition to come in the locker room, and then, we know we got the win. We're waiting to sing the poem.
Was it neat to have Coach Raveling here, and obviously someone who kind of laid the bricks for this program? And you can obviously see this many years later what he did for WSU and pulling.
Honestly, it's a blessing to have him here. He coached my dad way back in the day, so just having a mentor like that in our building is just amazing. It's a blessing.
With Raveling coming for the Husky game today, how much of that means to you guys as a Coug, just the amount of loyalty that this school has as players?
Having a living legend like George Raveling come back, a guy who's done so much, not just for basketball, but just for human beings as a
black
person,
community, honestly.
He's to have him back and have him at practice yesterday, talk to us, and just kind of be around the program and around us for a little bit. Real cool experience, and one of the last things he said at practice was, "Let's go get that win tomorrow." So obviously he was into it. He had the same kind of energy and desire to see a win in Beasley tonight.
Now, judging off of your guys' offensive attack tonight, I know CJ, you had a career high in threes, or this season high for individuals this season. You guys really tested their length as far as corner threes go and getting some of those open shots at the free throw line. Was that really an emphasis for you guys coming into today's game?
Yeah, it was. We added a few new plays in for the zone, specifically for their zone. And we knew where we get our looks. We knew where the zone might open up. We knew there were some soft spots, dead spots in the 3 and in the middle, and we just attacked them. And I think that was kind of the difference, was when we could get those shots in the middle, it kind of would break them down so they would suck in and it'd open up everything else. So it just kind of worked itself out.
Now, 5th conference win this season, you're +1 from last year. Furthermore, does this, with Raveling's visit today, does that really kind of push your guys' new culture that you guys have been preaching this whole year, just +1 wins on the conference?
Yeah, I mean, I believe so. I mean, just like Coach Raveling told us at the end of the game, this is the most important game is the next one. So we gotta keep on pushing and figure out how to get this road win.
In the first half, it seemed McDaniels did have some success. He had 12 points, as opposed to the second half where he had just, I think, the 1-3 and 1, just the 4 points. Was something kind of changed maybe in the locker room to approach him, or to just lock down a little bit more and keep him out of the game?
I think it was just to fight the fight, honestly. Just come out and just try to just play basketball, honestly, and just come out on top, and that's what we did.
No, CJ, right after you guys got done shaking hands, you went over and you shook Coach Raveling's hand. I mean, as you mentioned, what he's meant for the African-American community in the game of basketball, what did that mean for you both to be able to share that moment with him after getting this win?
It was amazing, just to have him in the building and present during our game. It's not something I would have guessed would happen this season. And he mentioned it yesterday that when he came here, he was, I think, one of the only black coaches in the Pac-8 at the time.
First black coach.
First black coach. And then he also mentioned that I don't think that he had a black player here at Washington State, And so just for him to be here in the building and for him to have lived such a great life, and has such an impact on others, it's just special for me because I get to be a part of it, and it's so much bigger than any of us. And it's bigger. It's way bigger than basketball.
It's way bigger than basketball, honestly, and it's like, you don't get a lot of chances to meet somebody who stood next to Martin Luther King and his "I Had a Dream" speech. So just having him here in the building just feels amazing. It's a blessing.
One more.
Really, just glad we got the win too for him.
Yeah, that's the best feeling.
Definitely.
That's the best feeling.
No, Willems, you had a very successful day on the defensive side. You draw at least 4 charges on the defensive end. How do you feel of having so much success down there?
I feel great. I'm more happy that we got the win. Defense does win games, so I'm happy I stepped up. I knew I could do it. I'm happy I had my teammates behind me to encourage me.